Marshal D. Teach debuted on the global side of One Piece Treasure Cruise on the 26th of January 2017. Rounding out even more Marineford characters to go alongside the previous few batches, most suspected that Sakazuki would have debuted after Borsalino and Kuzan. However, the Blackbeard pirates would surprise the community, bringing along some unique abilities. The characters in this batch included Grim Reaper Doc Q, Shiryu of the Rain, Champion Jesus Burgess, the Supersonic Van Augur, as well as Demon Sheriff Lafitte. And the brand new Sugo-Fest exclusive character of the batch brought along a brand new ability into the game, the ability to allow your crew's normal attacks to bypass defensive effects, a powerful effect that has only seen usage on very few characters in the game's history. To accommodate for such a powerful captain effect, this character's special is quite bland and boring, however on release it was considered to be very strong. Introducing Blackbeard. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So thank you very much for checking out another episode of the Legends of OPTC. Now, of course, I could not upload this episode last week because dealing with COVID is a bit of an issue, and it was very, very difficult. So hopefully you guys understand, but we are now going to go ahead and cover the character that we were supposed to cover in last week's episode, which is going to be Blackbeard and his badge. We'll talk about his badge first. Let's start off with this guy right here, Doc Q, a Psy slash a striker. Good class combination, of course, because of Blackbeard in his condition that he has with his captain ability. These characters definitely needed good classes, and this is a good way to start things off. Captain ability wasn't really too amazing, but then of course this special ability on a 4-turn cooldown is crazy. 10% health cut, then changes block, tandem, and recovery slots on slasher and striker characters into matching. While this is okay, I really wish it was just for all characters. Would have definitely helped out the Blackbeard team a little bit more, because obviously on the Blackbeard team, Blackbeard himself doesn't actually get the orb change. It's really, really annoying. But hey, pretty good special on a really low cooldown. It's a damage dealing special, right? So that obviously has its uses. This was a character that was used in very niche circumstances, not a terrible unit at all. This next one though is a bit of a crazy one. Here we have Rare Recruit Shiryu. When this character came out, the community went crazy. The things that this character could do was just mind-blowing. Personally, I always hated this character. For those of you who are longtime fans of the YouTube channel, you guys would know I absolutely despise this unit. However, this character definitely has his uses. An int-driven slasher character, captain ability, attack and HP of slashers by 2x. Not awful at the time, but you know, this really wasn't used all that much. But the special ability on a 17-turn cooldown after limit break, 19 turns base, so it's a very, very high cooldown, but has a small chance to instantly defeat each enemy. The chance of a character instantly being killed is 25%. So if there's 6 enemies, there's a roll done on each of these enemies for a 25% chance to instantly defeat them, no matter what. This was used in a lot of crazy scenarios where people would just build zombie teams and just rely on Shiryu carrying through the victory, and people were using it in training forests, people were using it for coliseums, people were using it for a lot of different pieces of content. The only real issue with this unit, it was very slow. If you wanted to actually farm content, this was not the character to use. The next Rare Recruit character is Jesus Burgess. This character really didn't see much play, unfortunately, but a strength fighter powerhouse character, captain ability of boosting the attack of fighter and powerhouse by 1.6 with a 1.2 times health boost, and of course it's very similar to the Rare Recruit Toadskii, which we talked about in the previous episode, where if a character had both of these classes, it would multiply it together, being a 2.56, which really wasn't that useful. And then his special ability on a 17-turn cooldown dealt 20 times his attack and strength damage to all enemies, and then boosting the attack of fighter characters by 1.5 times for 5 turns. Pretty cool, actually. A 5-turn boost is always nice, and of course now that we've got characters like Roger and Newgate, which can just buff any withstanding boost that we have, and it would be interesting to see later on down the line if there's a character like that for fighters. A character like this might actually see play, so just keep that in the back of your mind. But Jesus Burgess, you know, 1.5 times attack boost, while it is good, wasn't really used in a lot of content, unfortunately. So now we go ahead and move on to the Supersonic Van Augur, who was a quick shooter, cerebral character. Really nice that he's a really good shooter support. Captain ability, giving -1 cooldown to shooters, and then boosting shooter characters' attack by 2.5, just a really good unit in general. And then a special ability on a 15-turn cooldown would change the orbs in the top row into matching, and then give your shooter characters a 1.75 times orb boost for 1 turn. So it's kind of a thing that we've seen with this batch, that while the Blackbeard pirates, it kind of makes sense, you know, you can use them together, but the problem is that a lot of these character specials only work for certain classes, and Blackbeard isn't either, like, none of these classes at all. So it's a bit annoying the way that they kind of design this batch, but it kind of makes sense because the Blackbeard pirates are a bit unconventional in terms of the characters, but this was just a nice batch to give a couple of different support units to a couple of different classes. Really nice that shooters got a 1.75 times orb booster. Really nice unit. And then the last rare recruit of this batch is Lafitte. Now Lafitte really never took off as a unit, however he got a really good support, which made this character used in a lot of pieces of content. This character, a dex shooter driven, with a captain ability of just recovering at the end of the turn and also dealing damage at the end of the turn. No actual attack multiplier at all, so an awful captain ability, but a special, reducing bind and despair by 2 turns, and then make it badly matching and block slots not reduce damage for 4 turns. Very unique ability, was used in like the World Clash event. You got not World Cruise with Roger and Odin, I'm talking about like years before that with the World Clash. This character, I think, was actually used in that just because of that ability, but, you know, obviously it wasn't really super useful, but Bind and Despair removal, like, just more utility is good, because utility was pretty rare in a lot of rare recruits that we'd seen, so nice that they actually have that. But of course, the most useful component of this unit is the support effect, reducing Bind, Despair, and Blindness when it gets activated. It's just a ridiculously good support. So there we go, there's all the rare recruits of the batch. But now we get to talk about the main man himself, Blackbeard, captain of the Blackbeard Pirates. He's a dex-driven powerhouse character. Driven powerhouse, obviously one of those really key class combinations. But his captain ability would boost the attack of all characters by 2.75 with a 1.5 health boost if you have a striker, shooter, fighter, and a slasher in your crew. So you need to have those classes in your crew in order to get the attack and health boost, which is very key, very important. But the big thing is that he himself is none of these classes, meaning that your crewmates all need to fulfill these conditions. So that is obviously a pretty big downside to the unit. However, he also has this really neat effect where attacks will ignore damage reducing barriers and buffs, essentially meaning like all of your normal attacks from your crew bypass barriers, bypass rainbow shield, bypass threshold, damage immunity, like any defensive effect, they can bypass it. The only thing it doesn't get through is the blue shield defense up. That is the only thing that this type of effect does not bypass. Just essentially think of it as like Legend Carrot. This was like the first version of Legend Carrot that we got in One Piece Treasure Cruise. So a very good captain ability, but a lot of times, a lot of people would just hybrid this character with other powerful captains to not only make the condition easier to fulfill, but also just because, you know, 2.75 times, while it was fine, you can definitely get a lot of other buffs with other units. Plus, you don't really need 2 of these guys your captain because, you know, these effects don't stack. You know, as long as one of them is your friend captain or one of them is your captain, you're able to bypass defensive effects, which is the key thing. Now, another thing is that Blackbeard, he had a very high cooldown, 19 turn cooldown with his special ability, which is just stupid, but it would give you a 30% health cut, but if he is the captain, his health cut will go through all damage negating abilities and barriers. So that was also really key, the fact that it did bypass, because at this point when he released, I don't think we had any other health cutting effect that would bypass, you know, damage negating abilities and barriers, unlike in today's day and age where almost everything bypasses defensive effects. So having a health cut as a captain that can bypass is very good, and, you know, obviously maybe useful in today's video, so we'll have to wait and see. But there we go, that's the rundown of Blackbeard. Like a pretty basic unit, but definitely back in the day was used in a lot of content in hybrid scenarios to get through difficult content, because not only did he allow you to bypass defensive effects, making content easier, but also the fact that he is essentially a rainbow captain, right? So you can use him in a lot of different scenarios. So in today's video, we have 3 separate Colosseums that we are going to potentially challenge in this video. Colosseum Kid is returning from last week. I have a feeling that we should be able to beat that one, and I hope that's the one we actually get selected, because I think that's going to be like the most difficult, but also like the most fun to use with Blackbeard. We've also got Colosseum Alvida and Colosseum Marco. I have a feeling that we shouldn't have too many issues with these ones, but we'll go ahead and see what we get today. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel a couple times, and hopefully, I actually really want to see Colosseum Kid. That's the one I really want to see. And we actually do get Coliseum Kid. Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and build a Blackbeard team to take on the Strength Coliseum Kid. One more character left. So we've got Whitebeard and we've got Inu. 2 new Strength characters, which is nice. Just hope it's not Magellan, Shirahoshi, or V2 Lucci. Just not any one of those characters. Please, for the love of God. Please, for the love of God. Please! Yes! Okay, I'll take it. Blackbeard. Awesome. I actually really wanted this character. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. Alright, I'll take it. No V2 Boa, unfortunately, but we'll have to wait until a future Sugo-Fest for us to get her. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed. So we've made it now in-game, and here we have Blackbeard himself, captain of the Blackbeard Pirates. He appeared toward the end of the Paramount War to announce that he was renouncing his position as one of the 7 warlords. He also took Whitebeard's Tremor Fruit abilities after he had died. His body has the mysterious ability to take in not 1, but 2 Devil Fruit skills. So unfortunately, I actually don't own a dupe Blackbeard. Crazy as that is to see. Like, I've pulled so many dupe legends in the past. Now, I've definitely like owned dupe Blackbeards for sure, but I don't have one in my account right now. So unfortunately, I've had to de-evolve my own one, which means that he is limit broken. It does mean he has more cotton candy than he normally would, and he does have -1 cooldown more than he normally would. So hopefully you guys understand, but it is what it is. I don't know how I don't have a dupe, but it is what it is. This is the team that we're bringing today to take on the Strength Coliseum Kid. I feel relatively confident with this team. I had already looked at what Coliseum Kid did from last week as I was preparing teams to make sure that we would select content that at least Kuzan could actually take on, and I feel like we should be able to do it with this time around as well. I'm really excited to get into this one. We actually are using Cavendish once again. Luckily, I didn't actually evolve my Cavendish back into his 6-star plus. I don't have a dupe of him either, unfortunately, so luckily I kept him as 6-star just in case if some other legends in the future would need him. Luckily I did that, but we're also bringing up some other characters, like even ones we haven't used before, like regular Blamenko, who's going to be really nice to have for some orb changing, as well as Monkey D. Luffy. We've actually got like a lot of really cool characters here, and we are making sure to fulfill the condition. Remember, we need a fighter, which is Luffy. We need a slasher, so we have Cavendish. We need a shooter, so we have Frankie, and then we need a striker, so we have Blamenko. So we do fulfill all the class conditions for Blackbeard here. Without further ado, let's jump into the content. So shout out to my man, TheLordShiro, for providing us with the Blackbeard friend captain today. Unfortunately, it is limit broken, but shout out to my girl Karissa, who did have one, but unfortunately not on the friends list here. But let's jump into the strength variation of Coliseum Kid. Really excited to jump into this one. Let's get it. All right, jumping in. Final round versus Eustace Kid. The obvious thing that we need to do is stall for cooldowns, and because Blackbeard has such a high cooldown, that is, we need Blackbeard. Blackbeard is very essential for the final stage for this team to actually work. In terms of calculations, if we don't get that special, we are not killing the final stage, so keep that in mind. So we need to take the right precautions and stall effectively. Luckily, because Blackbeard provides us with 1.5 times health, we have a very, very big health pool to play with, so I feel comfortable with like taking a couple hits here. Let's just get rid of 2 of these guys, I guess. And let's see what kind of damage we're dealing with here. Oh, you're going to bind our quick characters. That's not fun. Okay, that's actually not a problem. That is perfectly fine with me. We have the sockets to get around that, so that is perfectly okay. I guess we'll just stall 1 turn. Like, that's fine. I mean, all these guys are going to activate their specials to bind our characters. We can take that. That's not going to be a problem at all. So this is good. This gives us plenty of opportunity to stall, but the fact that Blackbeard has such a high cooldown, that is ridiculous, man. And, you know, people back in the day had to stall for it, man. But, you know, that's another thing as well, is that for people wanting to use characters like Blackbeard, a lot of people would actually run healers on their team, such as a character like Legend Marco. He was a really good unit to use. You could even use the Rare Recruit Marco as well. Rare Recruit Marco had the ability to just grant you a full heal. So both of those characters were pretty good. Normally Legend Marco was the character that people would use because you could get access to not only that really good health boost, but also the ability to get an orb boost from Legend Marco's special. So that was a pretty key component of that character being used in content. But, you know, as I said before when we were talking about the characters, the main thing about Blackbeard and why he was so good is that you could hybrid him up with a lot of really good characters. And for those of you who used to play Treasure Cruise a lot back in the olden days, Legend Cavendish was probably one of the most used hybrid scenarios with Blackbeard. The fact that you could get the ability of Blackbeard to bypass defensive effects, and then you have Cavendish, which provides such a significant boost to himself. That hybrid was amazing, and was definitely used a lot back in the days of old school Treasure Cruise, that's for sure. So we're taking a lot of damage here, but I feel comfortable because I feel like if we've calculated this correctly, we should be able to take down Stage 4 and Stage 5 both in one turn. So after we beat Stage 3, we're not taking any more damage, but I feel pretty good right now. Actually, one thing I didn't check, hopefully there's no mini-boss on Stage 3. If there is, we might be in a bit of trouble because I did not calculate that. Either way, let's go ahead and move on now. We've stalled a lot. I mean, there should be a stage coming up here soon with the turtle. Is it this stage? Oh, or we're just going to find Heracles. That makes things a lot easier too. Okay, that's actually the first appearance of Heracles throughout the Legends of One Piece Treasure Cruise series so far. That makes things a lot easier for sure. In Stage 3, we do not have a mini-boss and we do not need to stall. We also do not need to conserve matching slots because our slots will be altered when we enter the stage versus... who is it again? Is it Khalifa? I think it might be Khalifa on Stage 4 here. Yeah, here we go. So here's Khalifa. Now, hopefully this is all gone according to plan. And if it is going according to plan, this is going to be a really, really cool little clip here. So all of our slots, yep, changed to badly matching. So we're going to go ahead and use the special of Flamenco, which can change dex and quick slots into strength. So that's going to enable us for our strength units just to get matching slots. And that's the main reason why he's on the team. So, of course, we want to get as much damage as we possibly can. Let's go ahead and use the special ability of Frankie, which is going to provide ourselves with a 1.5 times orb boost, which is obviously not amazing, but then we have the Luffy. The Luffy is going to give us a 2 times attack boost to our strength units, but that does come at a cost. You know, we do lose a lot of our health. I think it's like, is it 99%? Yeah, like 99% of our health. So basically, if we don't kill in this turn, we're pretty much dead. So hopefully it's enough damage to kill. Let's get it. Yes sir, yes sir, it was definitely enough damage. And we have the Blackbeard specials, and we have the Cavendish. So let's go ahead and jump into this stage right here versus Kid. Now the thing about Kid and why I felt like Blackbeard could actually get through this is because Kid actually is one of the first characters to actually apply a barrier, a 25 hit combo barrier. But of course, because of Blackbeard with his captain effect, we can bypass that with our normal attacks. So of course we're going to go ahead and use the special ability of Blackbeard, which is going to cut the enemy's health by 30%. But remember, if he's actually used as a captain, that health cut bypasses the enemy's defensive effects. So of course, we're going to use the double Blackbeard special, get the 2 health cuts of 30%, which puts him at around half health, give or take. And at this point, we're going to use the Cavendish special, which gives himself a matching slot, gives himself an attack boost, gives himself an orb boost. And I feel pretty confident in saying this should kill. If it doesn't, that sucks, but I feel like we should be pretty good right now. So, here we go, half health, and remember, our normal attacks are going to bypass defensive effects, but of course, we want to hit last with Cavendish to make sure our chain multiplier is boosted. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take down Kid, let's get it. Yes, let's go! Blackbeard coming through. Dude, that was just super squeaky clean. Of course, getting Heracles a little earlier to get the cooldowns was obviously really nice. Didn't need it at all, though. That was wicked. And that was just a small piece of what Blackbeard was able to provide, you know, when he came out in 2017. And he was obviously a lot better as time progressed, as more units came out that a lot of people could utilize different characters to kind of just beat content with that character. Such a unique unit, and was a very, very powerful unit as well. So that is going to end this video of the Legends of OPTC series. Next episode is a significant episode in the One Piece Treasure Cruise series, and the reason for it is because we have now reached the 2nd anniversary of the global version of One Piece Treasure Cruise. That was a really big moment because it released a very powerful character and still holds a very dear place in my heart, being Time Skip Luffy. Really hope you guys are ready for next week's episode. If you guys did enjoy this video though, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.